we are working on the Matchstick Rim now, and I have started it. As you can see, I'm going to tell you about a couple of things that I did before I actually did this amount of weaving. The first was to trim, and you can, if you look to the back part of the basket, back here, you can see that overlap. I did trim the rim down on the inside of the oval part and the back side, or excuse me, the back side of the flat part, so that it overlaps without as much bulk as it would have if I hadn't trimmed it. So that's that part. Then I did use the clothespins to kind of pin it around the basket. I've taken some of those off as I've gone around. This is a nice rim to be able to use if you don't want to have to lash a rim on. And I have to be honest and say that although I love the way a lashed rim looked, it is probably not my favorite thing to do, is lash the rim on. That's kind of the last thing that you do, and it's just not my favorite for some reason. But this is an alternative. However, you do need to have relatively thin spokes to be able to do this. So this 1/4 flat oval works, or 1/4 inch flat would work as well. Now with this, you also work in 3 units of 3. You can see that I have gone, let's say that this spoke has gone over the rim and then through the hole here between the rims and pulled back out. And that's what these two are. These are 2 previous spokes. So I'm just following the spokes around. I didn't start where the overlap was in the back. It says to start a few past that so that you're not trying to start with the overlap. And what we're going to do is bend this up, and it goes behind this spoke before it, this spoke will actually hold it like here. But what I'm going to do, and I figured this out first, is that I cut it first. There we go. So I'm going to cut it first, and I'm going to tuck it behind this spoke, like that. And then this spoke needs to go around and come back out, pull back out. So now I still have 2, as you can see. I've done 1 matchstick, and you want to kind of make sure that your spoke is standing up straight when you do this. So let's do one more so you can see it. I'm going to bring it over so I can measure it just to see how far it needs to come over. Sorry if I lose the picture here. I'm going to cut it. I cut it so that it will lay behind the spoke and slightly showing. Then I'm going to wrap the spoke around and pull it back out to the outside. Okay, and there is the continuing matchstick. And we can adjust it a little bit if we want to, but I think it's looking pretty good. I'm going to keep going there, and the suggestion is when we get back around and have to tuck it in the part that's already been done, which will be this one and this one, that's where your nice little tool or your screwdriver, if you're using that, can be used to pry this up a bit just so you can tuck that in. The other suggestion was that for the very last one, which is probably going to be, this one goes up, probably this one right here, that you can also cut it down a bit so it's not quite as thick, like this way, the lengthwise. So it's more like 1/8 instead of 1/4, and then just tuck in that smaller piece. So that is the Matchstick Rim, and it's a really cool looking little rim. And I'm going to finish it, and I will show it to you in the next video, as well as the bow. I'm going to show you the bow put on because I think the instructions for the bow are just fine, and it's not really a weaving thing per se, but we can take a look at the finished basket. So keep going on your Matchstick Rim, and we'll catch up with the finished basket part and then look at how it looks with the bow added.